Hello and welcome to Flourish in the Foreign on YouTube, on Twitch, on Twitter. I'm Christine Job, the host of the podcast Flourish in the Foreign, which is a podcast that celebrates, elevates, and affirms the voices and stories of Black women living and thriving abroad, while also exploring living abroad as a pathway to wellness. Today, we have an amazing interview with the very lovely Siobhan Farr. She has been such a supporter of the podcast basically since inception. And we're going to be talking about digital nomads, digital nomad life, and digital nomad later on, quote unquote, in life. Over 40, over 50, and we're going to be talking about her wonderful summit, the Digital Nomads Beyond 50 Summit, which I'm going to be a speaker. And I will be speaking about leveraging your talents and your expertise into a viable and sustainable online mobile business to take you abroad, something that really makes you professionally fulfilled while also financially abundant, right? Because it's no point in going abroad and struggling. We don't want to do that. So before we get started, let me tell you a little bit more about Siobhan, and I will bring her on. So Siobhan Farr, at the age of 63, Siobhan shed 30 plus years of material and emotional baggage. Amen. To launch her nomad years in March 2020 with a plan to start traveling 7 months every year. She would return to Dallas, Texas for the peak months of her work season. And then she would, which is September through January. She was already an avid traveler with 36 plus countries, and she would begin a new Nomad Wonder yearly every February. When she found herself COVID locked in Ecuador, the first country of her 2020 itinerary, she pivoted her business to totally remote and became an unintentional digital nomad. And she loves it. In her effort to find others who did similarly, she created Digital Nomads Beyond 50 in February 2021 and is now hosting the first virtual summit providing information and inspiration specifically to those in their late 40s pursuing a location-independent life. The summit, which I am speaking at, is scheduled for June 22nd through the 24th. Okay, and dun, 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 she will be providing you viewers a special discount code of 25% off, but you got to watch and ask questions and participate. Okay, so I'm going to bring her on. Hi, Siobhan.
Hello. How are you, Christine? It's good to chat with you again.
It is so good to chat with you. I am so excited to be talking to you about this because, as I alluded to, you have been a longtime supporter of my platform, Flourish in the Foreign. We talked, I think, maybe 2 times or maybe 3 times throughout this whole COVID pandemic thing. When I was locked down in Barcelona, you were in Ecuador. And honestly, I just think the world of you. I think you're just amazing. And the fact that you have the sense and the ambition and the drive to take what has been a crazy time and pivot it into a business and a resource to help others, I think it's phenomenal. I think it's just absolutely phenomenal. So kudos to you. But let's get started. Let's get started at the very beginning. You are a digital nomad, but this is not your first time living abroad. So tell us briefly about the first time you lived abroad.
The first time I lived abroad was in London. At that time, we moved there, my now husband, as I call him with much affection, and our 2-year-old daughter, who's now 23, moved there for 2 years. Absolutely loved it. We felt we had found a new home even within the first 6 months. We had decided to make it permanent if we could. And I had started the process of to become a citizen under my mother because she was actually, although she was raised in Belize, she was actually born in London. And then unfortunately that fell through because the company that he was working for filed for the biggest bankruptcy in the history of the United States. And so we were forced, I mean, literally with tears in our eyes on the plane, forced to come back. But during that period of time, although I had traveled abroad and of course I lived between Belize and the United States for my first 9 years, it wasn't until we were living in London that we really had the opportunity to experience life a bit kind of quasi nomadic, in the sense that every weekend we would go down to the London Railway and we would just literally look at our guidebook with a 2-year-old, by the way, in a pushchair, look at our guidebook and say, okay, where's the next train going? And do we want to go there based on the guidebook? And then we'd buy a ticket. We always had in our backpacks enough to at least last for the weekend. And if we liked it, we stayed the weekend. We found some place to stay and we stayed the weekend. And if we didn't, we took the railway back home. And that also worked very well with flights, because flying was so inexpensive at that time. And in the UK and in Europe, they have these extraordinary short haul, very cheap flights. We were flying for $35 to Sweden, or $45 to a 3-hour trip to Naples to go to the Amalfi Coast in Italy. So all of that was more affordable. By the time we came back, my daughter was 4 years old and she'd been to 24 countries, and it also instilled in her the love of travel. And she did her first solo travel when she was 17. She went to New Zealand for 15 days. So travel has always been a part of what I've wanted to do and have as a part of my life. And becoming a digital nomad has really, within this past year, I feel it's been a good positive, at least for me, out of the whole pandemic, that I converted my business when I was when I decided to, I was going to say stuck, but the truth is when I decided to remain in Ecuador, I converted my business to being totally remote, and I was well positioned to do that. And it's been great. It's been wonderful.
I love that. I love that. Welcome everyone who is watching. I appreciate you. We are talking with Siobhan Farr of Digital Nomads Beyond 50. So if you have any questions about becoming a digital nomad, about living in Ecuador, about the expat life, let us know in the comments. Let's make this more, I don't know, like interactive, right? Me and Siobhan are like nice. We're like nice and fun.
Bring
so
it
like,
on.
Bring it on.
I'm happy to answer any questions. Yes, this is all of my hair. I'll start with that one first. This is all my hair. And when it's down, I can sit on it. So
Exactly. So good morning to everyone. Good morning. I'm so glad that you guys are here, but let us continue on. And so Siobhan, let's fast forward. You guys have returned, from London, you're back in the States, but let's fast forward to, I guess, the moment when you decided, you know what, I want to do what your original plan was, which was live abroad for 7 months, come back for 3 months. What was going on in your life and how did you prepare for that?
Well, it had been brewing. At first, I was going to do it when my daughter Maya first went off to college, which was 2016. And then, because of the work that I do, which has enabled me to be able to make this transition in a few months of last year, is that I'm a Medicare specialist and healthcare specialist. I represent Medicare plans, travel insurance as well as general affordable healthcare for individuals and families. And the pay structure of that is that you build a residual income over years, so that the point where, I could take off a month. When I went to Argentina and met Maya during her study abroad, I could take off a month and I still got paid. So when I realized when in 2016, I still needed a few more years to build that residual income up so that I could, so that I can really live comfortably whenever I left. And I got to that point. I realized I had gotten to that point in 2018, the end of 2018. A couple of things happened that also inspired me to say, I've got to do this now. A very, very good friend of mine was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. In 3 months, he was gone. Around that same time, I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis and had a bit of spell where I'm thinking, how long will I be able to move my body? And so that really motivated me to say, okay, starting the 1st of January, 2019, I started little by little selling off 30 years worth of stuff. And when I say stuff, I'm talking about, I'm a child, came to maturity, as you say, my 20s were in the 80s. Everybody was acquiring stuff during that period of time. So I had a lot of stuff that I collected over that time. 18, count them, 18 loft sales, because I lived downtown Dallas in a big building that used to be Sears office warehouse building, but 18 loft sales. One of the things that I will tell people when they're going through this transition, something that's really precious to you, but you know that you got to get rid of it because you just have to minimalize, is I started taking pictures of the people who were buying the stuff that was particularly close to me, like my Noguchi coffee table that I'd wanted since the time I was 12 years old. I took a picture of them, and he was just like laying over it. I love this coffee table. So now when I look at that, when I think about what I got rid of, I know that it went to people who were very, very happy with it. And that has made it so much easier to get rid of that. Emotionally, there were things that I had to resolve personally in my heart. And I had chats, very important chats with some people that had the positive result of really releasing a lot of emotional baggage. They were all, they weren't cantankerous, conversations. It was just like, this is how I feel. This is what's in my heart for you. And I've been holding it, and you just need to have it and do what you want to do with it. And I put that out there, and just doing that type of thing really released a lot of emotional baggage. So I got I got rid of a lot of clutter before, both the physical physical clutter, as well as the emotional clutter. And it took some time, as I said before. Literally, my last sale of stuff was 2 weeks before I left the United States, which was the 4th of March, landed in Guayaquil, Ecuador, the 5th of March. So 2020.
That is amazing. And so when did Ecuador go into lockdown?
Less than 2 weeks after I arrived. I arrived on the 5th of March. And then I arrived in Guayaquil. I was there for 5 days. Then from Guayaquil, I took a minivan transport up to Cuenca, and that's where my dear god sister, and she's like a sister to me, true sister. She met me there, and because being the older of the two, she's always looking out for me, and she also knows bits more Spanish than I do, which is, my Spanish was like this. So she met me in Cuenca and intended to spend the first 2 weeks of my 6 countries by 6 months itinerary. We landed in Cuenca on the 17th of March, and that was the same night the country was locking down. And when I say locked down, we landed, we couldn't even get a taxi to come out to the airport to pick us up, to take us to the Airbnb that I had rented. And so, in fact, we had trouble getting the hotel. The Wyndham Hotel was down the road. And until they initially were telling us, okay, we can't run a van, it's past the new curfew, but here are the walking instructions to leave the airport in the dead of night and walk a half a mile away from the airport to where our hotel is, and then you can check in. Luckily, there were enough people who were in a similar situation and had booked literally at the airport, like we did, a reservation, and they came to their senses and said, okay, we'll take the risk of running a bus out to pick you all, 15 of you up. And that's how we got into Cuenca. So we arrived the day, and that's one of the reasons that even my doctors told me to stay in Cuenca, because when I describe how that country, now on the basically on the heels of having people, literally corpses in the streets in Guayaquil. That's how badly the pandemic. They were wrapped up, but they couldn't keep up with the morgue pickup. So what this country did was, in addition to locking their borders, not by land, sea, air, car, you couldn't get in. You couldn't even move from province to province, which in the United States is like you couldn't go from one state to another. Started off a 9 o'clock curfew. 2 days later, it dropped to 7. 2 days later, it dropped to 2 p.m. The curfew started and lasted until 5 for 5 months. And when you did go out, it had to be either for groceries, pharmacy, or essential work. And when you went to a retail, they misted you down with alcohol. It was so complete that my doctors, when I spoke to them, they said, that's what they're doing there. You need to stay in Ecuador. You plan to be away for 6 months, just stay right there, because that's the healthiest thing for you, considering the medications that I was taking at that time. One of them, was an immune suppressant drug.
Okay, well, let's get into some of these questions that we have. So we have, let me show this one. So we have from Jennifer Jace. In Ecuador, do they have a digital nomad visa?
I'm sorry.
No worries.
The blame. I'm on the patio of the Airbnb that I'm renting here in Mexico City. So this was the best place actually to do the interview from.
No worries, no worries. So in Ecuador, do they have a digital nomad visa?
They did not. In fact, that was one of the reasons why I wasn't considering. I started this off thinking that I was looking for a country to move to. And then the nomad thought came as I realized, as I was supposed, also in 2020, I was supposed to go with my daughter to Croatia and Slovenia. And I figured while I was Ecuador, Colombia, then back to the United States for her graduation from university. Then we were going to go to Croatia, Slovenia, and then go to London to see a friend who just had a baby. And then I was going to backtrack to Portugal and Spain, as when my daughter was going to go to Panama to the Peace Corps. Well, all of those plans fell apart. But those were the plans that had gone from just simply checking out Ecuador, Colombia, and Panama as a place to move. And when I saw what my itinerary was, I said, why am I going to spend time planting myself in another country when I just spent 30 years trying to get out of Dallas? So that's why I decided that to do my nomad plan of 6 to 7 months, slow traveling each country that I want to visit, spending at least a month in each country, and then coming back to Dallas, Texas to work during the high season for Medicare, and then starting a new itinerary. As I said, now that has changed, and my plans are constantly flexible. So.
Okay, so are you saying they don't have a digital nomad visa, but they're developing one now in Ecuador, or have they changed it due to?
I'm sorry, I digress. That's a fault of mine. I digress. They originally they only had a temporary visa that you could get for 2 years, but with that temporary temporary resident visa, you had to stay in the country 9 months out of every year, which is not very mobile.
Yeah.
Literally within weeks before I left Ecuador, which was early April, they rolled out in response to what they saw other countries doing. They don't call it a digital nomad visa, but it is close to being one, and is more flexible and more affordable than most of the other digital nomad visas that are out. In fact, I'm now collecting my FBI report and my police record, so that when I do go back to Ecuador, I'm applying for the new temporary resident visa that allows you, once you have it, it's good for 2 years. It's also renewable. The first one was not renewable. It was only a stepping stone to a permanent visa. And now it's renewable. And once you have it, you can come as go, excuse me, you can come as go as to your own flexible schedule as many times as you want back and forth across the border. So that's what I'm applying for when I get back to Ecuador, because I'm creating Ecuador as kind of like my home base now.
Can you briefly go through some of the maybe requirements to get that visa? Like, do you have like an income requirement? Is there, like, obviously
yes.
you have to have the background check, because they're not, no country is keen on you having like a major crime on your record. But what are some of the other requirements?
Yes, indeed. They do not want to import criminals under the guise of being digital nomads. And I'm so happy I can hold it up and show it to you if I had it handy. I got my FBI report just before I left Atlanta, because I was there for a month visiting my daughter and trying to also get at that same time my Dallas police report record, which you also have to have a local police record, because it even says on the FBI, we're not responsible for what you did in your town, which is only the national and federal. They don't really say it that way, but that's what it means. And that's why Ecuador also requires a record of local police report of where you had been currently living. You also have to show a certain level of income, but it's not very high, really. I mean, it's $600 a month for the and if you're not making at least that much as a digital nomad, you probably should go home and stay does that properly answer the question, or fully answer the question?
I think so. We have another question.
And by the way, while you're looking for the other question, I went to Ecuador for 3 weeks. And when I left early April, I had been there 1 year and a month. So now granted, a good chunk of it, I was in my condo, but I do have some good information about Ecuador. As you can tell, I love the country, and the people are amazing there. Even though you do stand out, especially me being 6 feet tall, I definitely stand out. But everyone who I encountered was amazingly grateful. And I have so much love for the people who I met there and embrace as a part of my family there.
I've only heard good things about Ecuador, and I have yet to go. So it's on my list of travels. So we have Jennifer. It's not a question. She just says, taking a picture was a good idea. Releasing emotional baggage, excellent. I'm getting rid of emotional baggage myself, which I'm so glad you said that, Siobhan, because, I've said it on the podcast. I've said it on different lives. Wherever you go, you bring yourself. So if you think that changing your geographic location is going to cure whatever's going on in your life, you will be sorely surprised to find that if you don't address those things, you will create the same situations and have the same cycles in Croatia, in Ecuador, in Colombia, and you will blame the places, and you will be in a completely different country. They speak a different language, and you still have the same cycle. So it's so important that you address those emotional baggage. It's so important to be intentional, or at least have an intention about what this next chapter is going to be like for you. And I think it helps for you to surrender to the uncomfortable and the different, because like, I'm going to be different. So yep, this is on schedule. I should feel uncomfortable because I'm trying to be different. So thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm so glad, Jennifer, that it resonated with you. The next question we have is from Junketch3000. I don't know if I said that right, but they say, how easy/difficult has it been to coordinate healthcare? That's interesting. So could you say that to living in Ecuador, and also maybe more broadly as a digital nomad who might be hopping around as well?
Sure. Well, I'm going to start on just some basic level. And since I know that the foundation for what we are sharing through your podcast is about wellness and the course to wellness, I mentioned that I had been diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis November of 2018. When I left the United States, I was on 3 of the basic and typical drugs that most people are prescribed for rheumatoid arthritis. Plaquenil, which is hydroxychloroquine, methotrexate, and prednisone. Prednisone and methotrexate. I saw what prednisone did to my mother. She didn't even have rheumatoid arthritis. She had just regular arthritis. And after being on it for an extensive period, there's a real damage that it does to your body. And the same thing with methotrexate, which is a scary drug as well too. It is an pediatric cancer drug. And you know that something serious is happening to your body when you don't even have to start, you can stop shaving your legs because there's no hair. I'm glad that I still have some hair on my head. The move has been, all I can say in the short term, less stressful for me in the sense that as of right now, I'm not taking methotrexate. I am not taking prednisone. I'm taking the mildest of the drugs that you need to take. And also methotrexate is the one that was immune suppressing, by the way. That was the first drug that they tried to got me weaned off of. Via telemed. I was still seeing my doctors in the United States on video and holding up my hands. And so they were checking to see whether there was any, deterioration, because that's where I'm mostly affected. When I did decide though, to find a rheumatologist in Quito so that I could at least have blood work done and have that checked, since I was being taken down off of medication. And I just basically found the doctor. I did not have at that time, oddly enough, even though I do represent travel insurance, and this is a cautionary tale in the sense that I represent travel insurance, but when I left the United States, I was just like everybody else pre-pandemic. I didn't typically buy even my own travel insurance to cover myself because I didn't think it was really that necessary, travel medical insurance. I bought stuff to cover my luggage and possessions, but not the medical part. And so I just paid out of cash. And believe it or not, it was very affordable just paying cash for even a specialist like rheumatologists. Most, at least in Latin America, all of those drugs that I was taking, there's no way that you would have been able to get them in the United States over the counter. But they were all available over the counter. Even the methotrexate was available. I just had to say, I show it in Spanish, and they say, "Oh, okay, here's the box," whatever. So I can't say that globally, because in London, when we lived in London, we were under the national health care there, which a lot of people put down in the United States, national health care, but it was wonderful. We were able to pick the doctors that we want, and everything was covered. You go to the doctor, you go to the pharmacy, you pay nothing. Let's see. Also about insurance, and I'm at the same time, I'm not trying to push my product, but now there are a lot of countries that you have to show that you have health insurance coverage, travel, health, and medical coverage upon entering, or else they won't let you in. Because it makes so much sense. Now, granted, as somebody who represents travel plans, I've also noticed that there are some countries that have hopped so much on board with this that they now require you to enroll in their specific travel medical insurance, cutting us out of the picture. But that those are few and far between. But most of the ones who have taken the pandemic to that level, you have to show the policy, on your phone or whatever. So I
So
hope that.
can you tell me, like, give me some different price points? Like, how much would be, I'm just saying, like a digital nomad travel insurance? What would that be looking like monthly or annually? And also in
Okay.
Ecuador, are you on private insurance? Do you have national healthcare insurance? And how much does that cost for you?
Okay, I'll first answer the Ecuador question. Um, with Ecuador, because when it got to the point where I wasn't sure how much longer I was going to be in Ecuador, I was looking at, they have private insurance, and it was very affordable as compared to what private insurance in the United States costs. I represent Affordable Health Care Act plans, which is also known as Obamacare in the United States. So I know how much the insurance would be if people did not have Obamacare to subsidize the cost of their insurance. When I am in the United States, the insurance that I'm under, I pay $60 a month for my insurance. That's my portion for the insurance under Affordable Health Care Act. The actual policy is more than $1,000. So, and I have some clients who it's still less expensive for them, even though their income may require them to pay like $150 or $600 a month. One family I know is paying $600 a month, and that's less for them than being on total private insurance. In Ecuador, I had looked into getting private insurance. It was going to be about $100 a month for me. And of course, most insurance even in Ecuador, they rate it based on your age. So if you're, as I say, if you're a pup, meaning the younger group below 50, not beyond 50, but below 50, it's going to be less for you to pay for that. And then with travel insurance, now travel insurance does take your age into consideration as well too, because that is how insurance companies rate the risk. People who are older are going to be a greater risk than people who are younger. So younger you are, you get the same policy for less. And you're older, you pay more. In the United States, with affordable health care, they cannot do that. That's part of the act. You got to pay the same, no matter what your age is, or the cost has to be the same, no matter what your age is. A travel medical policy, and when I say a travel medical policy, I got for the month that I am here, I just decided to cover myself for the month, because from here, I may stay 6 weeks or I may just stay 4 weeks, but I'm going to Guatemala from here. And then I will probably get another policy. Then at that point, I might get my multi-trip policy or multi-location. But for the initial 4 weeks that I'm here in Mexico, I got a policy for $108 that covers both travel and medical through World Nomads. And if you're thinking about it, please check with me, go to my page and enroll through World Nomads. They're very good on, it's one thing to have an affordable policy. It's another thing to actually have the help that you need, the medical care that you need when it comes that point. In some policies, you can get a cheap policy like the ones when you book a ticket. But when you really need it, you find that it's worthless. It's almost, truly not even worth what you paid for it through the Orbitz or whatever website you were booking your ticket through. That's why I got into the habit of not getting medical insurance.
That is amazing. Really quickly, just to kind of close out this question. Actually, we're not going to close out the question. If you have more questions, guys, you can obviously ask. But I'm always curious about, pharmaceuticals. So you said, you got your rheumatoid arthritis medicine over the counter. But what was the price comparison from Ecuador to the United States?
Okay, now in the United States, those drugs would all have also been zero. They would have been zero prescription, but I would have paid nothing under my health care plan. Or some healthcare plans, like that was last year. The healthcare plan, I still carry my healthcare plan for the United States because if something serious happens, then I will use my travel plan to get me to the United States, because your travel medical insurance will also cover emergency transportation back to the United States. So right now, I think those drugs would have cost me, as generic drugs, they would have cost me anywhere from $10 to $15. Usually, I'm paying $8 to $25 for the drugs in Ecuador, for those same drugs.
All right, so let's move on to the next question, which is, besides decluttering, what has been a challenge you have faced that younger, under 40 digital nomads do not encounter? Ooh, good question. Yeah, what is that?
That's a good one. A challenge that I face that younger nomads may not think about or deal with. I have to think about that, because I don't really think about how things are different for me as being older, or of being a woman of color, or being 6 feet tall, or anything like that. I just think of things. My observations are usually from I have a background in industrial and organizational psychology, and I used to specialize in diversity awareness learning experiences. So I usually think of things, my observations are usually of culture rather than of age. One thing I can say is that in a lot of cities that I've been in, Ecuador, and even a little bit less, but something similar here, is that a lot of these cities, maybe it's because of the fact that these countries are not as litigious as the United States is. They don't sue. People don't sue you. Apparently, they don't sue municipalities, because you'll be walking along and there'll be these huge holes in the pavement. They've been there for a while. There's no warning code or whatever. It's just like you're expected to watch where you're going. And I say this as And I say this as someone, and maybe this is an age thing. My daughter came down to visit me for 7 weeks during her graduate school winter break. And I had a fall, and she'd known that I'd had 2 falls before and they were like pretty serious falls where I just said, oh my God, I thought I had split my chin open at one point. Thank goodness I didn't. But it's something I really had to get used to, because I'm used to walking very fast. And maybe, once again, maybe from an age standpoint, I notice I'm having to look down a lot more. And that's something that I've noticed, to make sure that I don't fall, because 3 falls in a very short period of time because of uneven pavement, or, because I'm usually up and looking what I can take a picture of. And now I'm also looking at what's coming up on the grounds. But the only one and this kind of ties into Digital Nomads Beyond 50, one very key thing that I learned that is different, or was a barrier to people who were older nomads, is I tried to sign up for one of these co-living, co-working villages. There's one, these companies that they're kind of like a travel company, and they make a village where they put together all the resources for 3 months. You can come for a month, 2 or 3 months, meet other nomads. You're all living in the same place. They have a nice work center set up for you. And so I tried to check that out to sign up for one of those because I was thinking maybe Colombia. And the first thing in the application, or one of the first questions, was, what age group do you fall in? And so the youngest, or I should say the oldest, was 40 plus. I clicked the 40 plus, and the first thing that came up was a message saying, thank you for your interest in our communities and our digital nomad communities. We are not yet basic. I'm paraphrasing, but it was saying, we're not at the point where we're offering communities in this age group. But give us your email and we'll communicate with you whenever that does happen. So, which gave me another idea towards the Digital Nomads Beyond 50. And hopefully we will be having our own co-work and co-live community set up. When I was in Belize, I already started laying the foundation for that on a beautiful island in Kikaka. Yeah, if I'm going to bring money to a country by bringing people there, I'm going to start with my own country, Belize. And so I've made contacts with those. I found a beautiful location, and hopefully next year we will be hosting for Digital Nomads Beyond 50 a co-live, co-working community on Kikaka in Belize. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I love that. You see some of that age discrimination, you say that's okay, I'm gonna start my own thing and have even another amazing pivot out to a business. I love that so much. Let us continuing on.
And I know that we're almost done, so for those people who are just going to race to the end to see when I gave out the code, I'm going to give it out now. How about that? So you can't just check to see at the beginning whether I gave it out or at the very end. I'm going to drop it right now. So they got to listen.
Okay, give
I know a little bit about marketing.
The registration link for the Digital Nomads Beyond 50 Summit is in the link in the description box. There's a link. Please use that link because it is an affiliate link for me. It's at no extra cost to you, but it does support this podcast and this platform, and I greatly appreciate you. But also, Siobhan's going to give you 25% off code. Go ahead, Siobhan. What's the code?
Yes, here it goes. The code is 25, F like flourish, I like in, F like foreign. Yeah, I took out the T. I don't want to make it too complicated. 25. So it's 25, FIF, 25 is the code. And it's good today, Saturday, and through midnight on Sunday. So hop on it, get your tickets. The tickets start at free, but we've got lots of great benefits along with the various ticket levels, and we'd love to see you. We've got 20 panelists with our esteemed Christine here also on the panelists as well. And it is like a summit like you've never experienced before. You're not going to be talked at. We're assuming that if you're in your late 40s on up, 50s, early 60s or whatever, you're smart people. You got your own questions. So come with them and get answers in a lounge where you get to chat, interactive with the people who are the experts and the experience, as compared to listen to them for 40 minutes and then get 10 minutes of your questions answered. Okay, so that's what we mean when we say we're signing up for Q&A lounges. So the King driven, it's participant driven.
I'm excited. I'm really excited. I know it's going to be such a fun time. I always even though I'm an introvert, I love talking to people about this kind of stuff. So if you guys have the questions, if you really want to take this seriously, I think this is such an amazing resource. So I hope to see you guys there. But let's finish up some of these questions because we still have quite a few and I want to get everyone's questions answered. So can you go a little bit over? Do you have time or are you busy?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. So we have Guinevere. That's such a beautiful name. Guinevere B. How hard was it to transition everything online?
Oh, I started converting my life to all digital January, February of 2019. So basically, a year before I left, I started converting my life to being digital. All my banking, all my bill paying. I applied for Charles Schwab. No, I have no affiliate link to Charles Schwab, but they have a wonderful debit card that you can set up through a brokerage account with them. And you don't have to pay any exchange rates. They don't charge you. My regular bank is Chase. I transfer money periodically. All of my income from business goes into Chase. I transfer money to Charles Schwab. And that's the ATM that's the card that I use in ATMs when I'm in any of the countries, and it's been accepted, Ecuador, here in Mexico. I just used it yesterday, and as well as when I was home in Belize as well too. I was able to use it at the ATM. I didn't get any charges from Charles Schwab. Chase would have charged me $5, as well as the bank that you're using the card with. They charged me $5. So before I got my Charles Schwab, and actually I forgot to do that before I left. So I actually had it mailed to a dear friend of mine, Jennifer, she's like my post office. I signed up for informed US mail. That's with the post office system. So basically every day I get video screens, not of my junk mail, but at least the outside of the envelope. So if I see something, my mail is being delivered to her home. She's very gracious. Not only she's keeping my mail or checking my mail, but she's also keeping my car. That's where my car is parked. And sometimes she sees something that she tells me about, but the other times, sometimes I see it on Informed that I say, Jennifer, could you open this up for me and let me know what it is? And she might scan it or take a photograph of it in case I need to see that. If you don't have an extraordinary friend like that in your life that you can trust with that type of information and that type of a task, then there are virtual mailboxes that will do that for you. But of course, at a cost. I don't even know what they charge. I should find that out so that can provide that as a resource to the folks in our Facebook group. But they do have virtual. So that's one thing that I did. Started having I signed up for informed delivery with the U.S. Postal Service if you're in the United States. I got my Charles Schwab card. So, and of course, the other part of it, to also, if you can, get a card that's going to pay you bonuses for flights and it's great to have a credit card. When you use a credit card, always try to get one that you can build points with, so that even when I use a credit card here, I only use the Charles Schwab card at ATM. I use a credit card for groceries, everything else, all my food, any place. The only time I don't use a credit card is if they don't accept credit cards. But I get points all the time with those cards. So that's another thing that you can do before you start your nomad journey. In addition to, as I said, decluttering, digitizing your life. The one thing that I didn't get to do enough of because I have so many pictures is to get older photographs that were not digitized done. So they're in storage right now, and that will be a task for when I'm back in Dallas, probably sometime next year.
Okay.
Anything else?
We have the next question. I think Jennifer, and let me know if this is right. I think she's referring to how much is the Ecuadorian digital nomad visa, I think.
Okay, it's $400. That is, and once again, if you look it up, they're not going to call it a digital nomad visa. What you're looking for is, if you're looking at Ecuador, what you'd be looking for is the 2-year temporary resident visa. And there's several visas, sub visas under that. There is a professional visa. You do have to show interest. It's also like $400 charge. They're all $400, but you have to show a higher level of income for the professional. I think it's like 1,200 or something like that. The six and I guess I spoke incorrectly when I said 600. That 600 is for people who can qualify for a retirement visa. Now, consider this. You can get a retirement visa but there's no age limit as to when you can be retired for that visa. You just have to show that you have some kind of an annuity or some kind of income that is not through a professional effort, and it has to be at least $600 so that that's how you can get a retirement visa, what they refer to as a pensioner's visa. Then there's also the professional visa. For the professional visa, you got to go back to your colleges and get them to send your transcripts and all of that. I said, I don't have time for that. I'm just going to go for the pensioner's visa because, I can still, do that. I can have an annuity, so that might as well. And I have the income. So even though the income varies, it's still enough that it was fine for them. Does that answer the question?
I think so, yes. And she said yes. That's exactly what she was talking about. So hooray. What I do want to talk about in this last, couple of minutes that we have, we can go over though. I would love for you to walk everyone through what the Digital Nomads Beyond 50 Summit, what are they really going to experience? What are they going to walk away with? Because people put on summits and conferences and people are like, that was fun, that was inspirational. What are they actually going to walk away with? Who is it for? And what can they expect to have to experience?
Okay. Well, first, it is the Digital Nomad Beyond 50 Summit. But I would have to say that anyone who is considering being a digital nomad or living as a nomad will get benefit from attending. Even if they are younger than their late 40s, they're going to get benefit. We have, as you can see, Christine obviously is not beyond 50. But she knows her stuff when it comes to helping people, being a business strategist and working with people to help them create their dream of a business. Christine has it all there. She's got all of the information. So of course I wanted her to it didn't make any difference that she wasn't in her 50s. She's an expert at what she has to say. And we've got a few people. We have a panelist who's 23 years old, but he created an amazing, this is just to show you the range of what you will be able to get out of attending. His Q&A lounge is about digital minimalism and about how when people who are maybe becoming digital nomads, they think that what are all the software and the hardware that I need to make to be successful doing this? And, there's this, and there is a world. I'm a member of an online site called Remote Tools. They also have an adjunct called Remote Clan. And when I was signing up, it said, what tools do you use? So I started clicking, and the list, as I was clicking, the list kept getting longer and longer. And I said, what the heck? Where does this list end? And I was just scrolling down and I said, I'm overwhelmed just looking at all the available tools that people would be using as a remote worker. So what Federico, he is a minimalist in that he created it's called SnapFit. It's in the prototype. He may have it to be able to show when we actually have the summit, which is 22nd, 23rd through the 24th of this month. But basically, imagine like a Campbell's soup can, a regular soup can, but it has one snap piece. You can buy all these modules. One piece is your mobile hotspot. One piece is where you can coil your cables. One piece, and it all snaps together to be this like cylinder about that big, easy to pack. And he's going to be sharing about minimalizing the software that you need, minimalizing the hardware that you need, because basically as a nomad, you're carrying everything. Talk about hardware, you're carrying everything on your back. While I was in Atlanta, I did a little bit of my online shopping, and I had ordered a power surge because it looked fairly small and light on Amazon. A power surge protector, multi-plug type of device. And because I know that I can use them with my universal adapter. But when it arrived, it was about this big, and it was like a square like this, and it was heavy. So I had to return it because I don't check any luggage. I carry a backpack and I carry a rollerboard. And I am living pretty much with the same clothes, except for picking up some UV reflective nylon jackets, because I'm in the tropics a lot, and I've gotten way bronzer. Yeah, you can see I've gotten way bronzer than I need to start protecting my skin more. If you can see the contrast there, I guess it's on this side here. But so I got some of those jackets, very easy. They kind of ball up like this, but they have UV protective 50 plus. Everything is either on my back or I'm pulling it. And I've been traveling pretty much with the same wardrobe that I left Dallas with more than a year ago. Thank God for washing machines and very cheap laundry services if you don't have a washing machine in your Airbnb. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I am so excited for this summit. Before we wrap up, go ahead.
But the general question, so there's a broad range. We've got people talking about building your online business. We have people talking about how to become a freelancer, and particularly, sell your services successfully. What kind of services sell well as a freelancer? I have an author, a best-selling author, Carla MJ. She is someone I've actually known for some time, and she is going to share about, when she writes her books, she travels to various countries and gets very immersed in the culture. And she can tell, as a best-selling author in the beyond the 50 age range she is when she started a lot of this, she's going to share on how to go about, because so many people who are in their 50s and digital nomad, they want to write a book. Another one of the panelists, he gave me the phrase, "I'm writing the book that's been writing me all my life." And I really resonated with that. And so I took it as the title. Thank you, Andreas, for that, as her particular talk on how to go about writing the book that you've been writing all your life, and traveling while you do it, and being a profitable author as a digital nomad, or copyright, etc. As I mentioned before, there is we have 33 topics, lounges. And then we also have a networking lounge in the middle of our sessions. And it's all compact in 4 hours in the morning, if you're in the United States, that you can attend and then get on with the rest of your day. We're not going to take up 2.5 days of summit, just a very compact period of time and a lot of information. And we even have a networking lounge so that participants can go into the networking lounge and interact with each other for 45 minutes. We have, so that kind of gives you the feel of attending an in-live summit, where for me, the value of always attending a live summit or conference is, expanding my network. So, and then we also do have the Facebook group so that people can continue to interact. We have our regular Facebook group for Digital Nomads Beyond 50, and we also have Facebook group called the Digital Nomad Beyond 50 Summit. And that's exclusively for people who are registered and participating in the summit, so they can start to get to know each other even before the summit starts.
Yes, yes. I'm a member of both of those Facebook groups, and haven't really been on Facebook that often as of late, but I'm gonna get back onto Facebook. I'll be there and available to ask, for people to ask me questions, for me to help, because I think it's so, so important. Moving abroad, being a digital nomad, it can sound really sexy and amazing, but it is like anything else in life. The things that you've gone into intentionally probably end up better than the things you kind of just flung around. And maybe even if you flung yourself out there, at some point you had to get really clear about what you were doing and have a vision. And I think, this summit, these resources really help you to cultivate your vision so that you can create a life well lived. That's the whole point. It's not just about being a digital nomad because it's sexy. There's a lot of downsides to being a digital nomad sometimes, where you're just like, what the heck? The freedom that you gain, if that is for you, is incredible. But you have to go about it intentionally. And a really good way to go about it intentionally is to attend a summit and really delve deep into these resources and see not only other people's experiences, but see what really resonates with you, what actually resonates with your lifestyle. Not everybody that's a digital nomad is bebopping every two weeks or 2 months. Some people slow mad. Not everybody stays at a hostel. They stay at a hotel or they rent a house. There's so many different ways to live this life and to do digital nomading. So if you're interested in it, if you think this might be something for you, I highly, highly recommend you to go ahead and sign up for the summit today. Don't think about it. Do it today, because you're going to forget about it. You're going to have all the open tabs, and then you're going to miss it, and then you're going to be mad. And I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it if you miss it. I don't want to hear that. So go ahead and sign up today. You can use the link in the description of this video. You can actually find it on the resource page of flourishintheforeign.com as well. And go ahead and sign up and really take your dreams seriously. That's my biggest thing. Let's not make this a someday kind of thing. Take your dreams seriously and take a step to just investigate and to see if this is the right move for you. Maybe you'll attend this summit and you'll say, this was wonderful and nice, but being a digital nomad is not for me. But you won't know until you actually start investing the time and the effort to see not only who you are, but who you're going to be in this next chapter of your life. And if that's really in alignment with the things that you think you want to do. So take it out of the someday and bring it into today. Sign up for the summit today using my link in the description. If you have any other questions, put them in the comments below. Will there be replays? Oh, here we go. Jennifer says, will there be replays that we can connect to afterwards? Will there be replays
of the summit? Oh, yes, because we have, well, let me explain. We have 4 ticket levels. There's a free ticket level. You get into 5 lounges, topic lounges, and you also get the replays. The $15 ticket level is coach. We have free ride, coach, business, and premium. And no, there is not class behind any of those for a deliberate reason. But there's the free ride with the coach ticket. Which is $15. You get into 10 lounges and the replays as well too. You also get all of the tickets. You get 2 free ebooks as well too. With the coach level, you also get to schedule after the summit a one-on-one. You get one-on-one meeting, virtual meeting with a select group of panelists. Then the business level, you get into 20 of the 30 lounges. You also get the free books, etc., and you get 2 virtual one-on-one meetings. And at the premium, you can have access to all of the lounges and all of the replays, not just the lounges that you selected, because even the free level, you get those 5 lounges, you get the replays of those 5 lounges that you selected initially, but you don't get all of the all the lounges. So that's why this 25% off code is really a generous offer to help you get started on building your dream and finding out whether the digital nomad life is for you, from just what you hear from the panelists, but also from those who are already participating. You've got people who are participating who have already been digital nomads. And the resources, we like to say that the structure for the summit is come to get your options, to know what your options are, to know what resources are available to you. In addition to business strategists and career coach who specialize in working with digital nomads and performance, helping them, because there's a whole performance issue for digital nomads. We're out here on our own, making our own schedule. It's easy to become kind of off the charts with ourselves. And so there are people who have created wonderful website software. Go Done is one of Heather is one of our panelists, and she's created a website that you can go to and co-work online with other people. We're all working on our own project, but we've all made the commitment to keep each other accountable for our project. So once again, that's another person sharing the resources and actions. What are the actions? Options, resources, and actions are what you will find by attending the summit, and we have the full range, even money management and Bitcoin. Is it worth it? It is the revolution, it would appear. It is ideal for digital nomads. I don't even understand it, but we have somebody who has that expertise who's going to share regarding how it could work for you if you wanted to. So that's what I mean when I say it's a whole range of resources that we have pulled together to give you a full package in a very compact period of time.
Yes, we have another question before we wrap it up. She says, how much is premium? Is there a program I can access before the summit? What kind of program are you looking for, Jennifer? But just let me know, but go ahead. How much is premium?
The premium is $69. So take $25 off of that. If you buy, nice. If you get your ticket, use the link that was announced earlier, and take 25% off of that, and you've got a lot, because the premium, once again, gives you access, live stream access, as well as replays. And you have replays you can have up until the 4th of August to access the replay. So you've got plenty of time, and a lot of that's a lot of information with the premium ticket.
Also, I imagine the lounges are going to be
all of the tickets you get replays for the lounges that you selected.
Okay. I imagine, though, that what was I going to say? I imagine that the lounges are actually quite an intimate space, and so it's actually an incredible deal if you think about it. I'll just say, currently, I charge €100 an hour to do like general moving abroad consultations and things like that. People want to move to Spain. People want to talk just about moving abroad. But my business strategy, if it's a la carte, if you just want to talk like 1 hour of my time, is €250. I have my own program in which I do like a 12-week sprint one-on-one with clients. I am developing a group coaching, but for people who want to pick brains, and I don't have like a free pick my brain option, unless you're a Patreon or something like that, and I have. Unless like you're a Patreon, and I have those kind of events for the Patreon and stuff like that. This is actually a really great offer. So I'm only speaking about me. If you want to chat with me, it's a really great offer. I can only imagine all the other people that are going to be there who probably have similar structures where they don't have like free pick my brain kind of services. This is actually an incredible deal. And once again, like I said, it's so important to take yourself seriously. It's so important to take your dreams seriously. Your dreams don't just manifest out of nowhere. Like you just think about it enough, it's going to happen. It doesn't. yes, you need to get your thoughts and your beliefs and your emotions in alignment. And then you need to take some intentional action. And you need to really follow up those beliefs and really bet on yourself. So I really highly suggest you join us for the summit just so that you prove to yourself that you're taking yourself seriously. Sometimes we poo-poo ourselves. We don't even we think they're gonna be naysayers outside, and when we're the biggest hater of our own dreams, right? We're the biggest, but we want them so much. We want them so much, but we don't give ourselves the time and the space to even consider, if it's a possibility, if it's really what we want, because we don't give it enough time, enough space. So I highly recommend you guys to join us for the summit. Again, the link is in the description of this video. The 25% code is 25 FIF 25, and it's only good for this weekend. So it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So if you watch this late, sorry, it's not working, but join us for the summit anyway, because it's going to be great. Also, if you are interested in starting your own business abroad and you're like, I have an idea, or you have a side hustle and you're thinking about, I want to take it abroad, I do have a free resource guide called Build a Business Abroad. It's free, and it's very simple. The link to that is in the description of this video. You can also find it on the Flourish in the Foreign website, www.flourishintheforeign.com/resources. Fill it out. I highly recommend, pouring yourself some tea or some wine and really get clear, like write it down. I think I'm a really big believer in taking your dreams out of the ethereal, put it into physical space, give it the time and the attention that it needs, and see if really building a business abroad is right for you. I think it's really, really important. So it's my gift to you all, because I really believe that, entrepreneurship is a pathway to self-actualization. And living abroad can be a pathway to wellness. And combined together, a lot of magic can happen in your life. A lot of things that you thought were far-flung ideas and dreams can really come into fruition. So I really highly suggest you guys to grab that. Join me at the summit as well. And also, if you're enjoying the content on the podcast, on the YouTube, on the Instagram, please consider becoming a supporter of Flourish in the Foreign by becoming a Patreon at www.patreon.com/flourishforeign, cash apping the podcast, $flourishforeign. Find me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/flourishforeign, or purchasing an item off our Amazon wish list, which you can find on the support page at flourishintheforeign.com/support. That is it for today. If you have any other questions, of course, all of Siobhan's information is going to be in the description. I think it's already there, but if not, I'm going to edit it and add it there. And just reach out, okay? Thank you so much, Siobhan. Siobhan, do you have any closing statements or anything that you want to say?
I just want to say thank you, Christine, for this opportunity to share my story, my journey. I have really enjoyed spending this time with you this morning and with your followers as well too. And if anybody has any additional questions, you know, stop in and join, even if you're not quite 50 or late 40s. You can join the Digital Nomads Beyond 50 group, and just ask and check and just look and see just the comments and the different things that are coming up. We're constantly recreating. In fact, just this morning I started a new Facebook group, Digital Nomads, view from my laptop.
Oh.
Because I was just sitting here setting up for this, and I'm just looking at this amazing view that I have. I don't know if you can see it, but this is my patio.
Oh, that's a lovely patio.
That's and I just nice. Said, this is a lovely patio. And there's so many times before where I've taken pictures of my laptop wherever I happen to be. And I said, I'm sure that other digital nomads are doing something similar. So let's see those pictures. And so who knows where it goes from there. Digital Nomads view from the laptop. Yeah, so at any rate. That.
And join the Facebook group, Digital Nomads Beyond 50 and the Beyond 50 Summit Facebook groups. If you want to join and start getting the conversation started there, everyone is so nice and so helpful. So join us there. Okay, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I will talk to you soon. Bye.